The following is a presentation of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League. Hello once again, everybody. Andrew Rogers here, the host of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. This is episode number 4. Yes, welcome to May, everybody. It's crazy to think it's already May. Obviously, everything with this whole pandemic just seems to drag on. And for some, we don't even know what day it is. We don't even know what month it is. Which day is Monday, which day is Sunday. It's really hard to say, but either way, the weather is nice out there. If you can get out and enjoy it, please do. Great to be back with you guys once again. Thank you very much for tuning in. I first have to give a shout out to you guys for continuing to support our league, the Western Ontario Super Hockey League and the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. It's been just an unbelievable, resounding response from you guys. The very first episode we had league president Jamie Petrie on, and his podcast alone is almost up to 1,000 views. Guys, I can't honestly tell you how much that means to me to be able to see that and look at that when I do check the viewership of these podcasts. And then the last two, we had Andrew Bogdan on from the Stratford Fighting Irish. And then last week, we had Mitch Scott and Rich Wigmore, a couple of management people with the Allura Rocks on. And they're both over 200 views. So thank you very much, guys, honestly. And let's hope that this week can deliver on those fronts as well. Got a really exciting podcast coming up. Our guest on this podcast is the president, head coach, and general manager of the Alvinston Killer Bees, Shawn Dickey. I'll be introducing him shortly. Obviously, if you guys don't know where to find us, here is all the social media links. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube to get all the updates there. You can find us on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter, as well as all the teams are on there as well, guys. So make sure to follow along with them as well as the league in social media, just so that way you can find what's happening. You can keep up to date with what's going on. A lot of the teams are making announcements on certain things, including sponsorships, including player commitment, which is absolutely outstanding. Stratford Fighting Irish, right now they're going through a logo contest, which is very, very exciting for them. So hopefully they'll have a fan-inspired logo for their team this upcoming season. That'll be really exciting. The other teams that I believe the only other team that has put player commitments out on their social media is the Strathroy Jets and the Stratford Fighting Irish, obviously. But it's a little bit different for the teams that are coming over from the old from the still going WOAA, the Allura Rocks and Tillsonburg Thunder. It's just a matter of figuring out which guys are staying, which ones are not. But again, it's a little bit different for them because they got guys coming in and already a somewhat established roster. But as we heard from Mitch Scott and Rich Wigmore last week, there's still a lot of potential for new players to come into the Allura Rocks fold into this league, the Western Ontario Super Hockey League. So very exciting stuff coming up, obviously. And again, with summer right on the horizon, there's a lot of events that are planned. COVID obviously pending with those in terms of whether or not we'll be able to run those events. But guys, make sure to keep up to date with those and make sure to get involved and do whatever you can to help us support this league, because it will pay off in the end, guaranteed. This league is going to be very fun. It's going to be very exciting. The talent and the skill level is going to be, miles and miles ahead. It's just going to be so good to watch. And we just want you guys to be a part of it and enjoy it as much as we will. So yeah, make sure to keep up to date. So thank you very much for all that you've done so far to support us and for your continued support. So thank you very much. As mentioned, the guest on this week's edition of the podcast, episode number 4, is from the Alvinston Killer Bees. We're going to introduce him now. He is the president, head coach, and general manager. Yes, a little 3-way title for him. His name is Shawn Dickey, and I introduce him now. It's at this time we were pleased to welcome in the president, general manager, and head coach of the Alvinston Killer Bees, Shawn Dickey. Shawn, great to have you here. Welcome to the podcast, pal. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. It's a pleasure being here for sure.
Right on. Everything looks really sharp in the background there. I love it. I'm like I say, really happy to have you here and be able to speak with you. First question before we get into the Killer Bees and this league and all the hockey questions. COVID, obviously, it's well over 400 days of COVID now with all this pandemic, all the lockdowns and everything that goes along with it, all the tragedies and so on and so forth. I guess just give us an update about how you're doing, how the family is, how's everything going for you in the regular outside of the sports world.
Well, I mean, it's kind of ironic. We had some spring skates with the hockey team, and we had scheduled 4 skates. And on the second skate, about a week after that, because they were 2 weeks apart, I got a message from one of the guys on the skates that he had tested positive for COVID.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So immediately, that was a Saturday night. Immediately, I scheduled something for Sunday, and my son and I both tested positive.
Oh, no.
And then even the week prior to that, we didn't know we had it.
Right.
So my wife and my daughter actually ended up getting it too. So yeah. So that COVID's real for those people that don't think it is. I mean, the symptoms weren't horrible, but nonetheless, it's still something out there that we got to be fearful of. Not fearful, shouldn't use that word. Everybody uses that word, but definitely mindful of, right. And try to be cognizant of your safety and your surroundings for sure. Yeah.
But everybody's okay now. Like everybody's good now.
Everybody's good. My wife still doesn't have smell or taste, I guess, but everybody else is. I mean, I hardly had a symptom. My son didn't have any symptoms whatsoever. He wanted to get retested because he just didn't believe he had it. So, but yeah, everybody's good.
I mean, I'm glad to hear that. That's the key. That's the key to all this, is that everybody's okay, and that, you know, tragedy, it could have obviously been a ton worse for you. So, like I say, glad to hear that. You know, and that you're doing well now. So yeah, give us the scoop here, because obviously this is a huge deal, this league, and it's a very exciting times. The first 6 teams announced, as we know, a couple coming over from WOA. You know, you got Stratford, Elora, Tillsonburg. You guys, the Alvinston Killer Bees. You have the Langton Royals, and you have the Strathroy Jets. Very, very exciting times. Kind of give us a how this all kind of came to fruition for you guys being involved in this. How did that come about?
Well, Jamie gave me a call earlier in the year. I mean, I coached a team just kind of like what I'm doing now in the WOA, called the Thetford Dirty Dogs back in the day. And and I've always had 1, 2, up to sometimes years, I've got 10 guys messaging me, "Hey, we're getting the dogs back." And nothing was different this year. I had some guys message me up, and I mean, technically, I guess we were on hiatus, but yeah, I mean, when Jamie called me, it just seemed right. It seemed like a good fit. Jamie explained a lot of different things, and just the way the league is ran, just with teams having their own say on how things are going to get run. I mean, that's huge. So I jumped right in. I'll be honest, I tried to have a team here back in Thetford where I live, seeing as I'm only about a block away from the arena, but things didn't work out, ice time and whatnot. So I needed to find another place. That place was Alvinston for me. I'm not sure exactly how many years it's been, but they used to have a junior C team there. And the junior C team picked up and moved to Petrolia, which is only about 20 minutes away.
Got it.
So that town has been just wanting and needing something there. And when I approached the municipality, it seemed like it was a very good fit. Everybody was very on board, seemed very excited. And then right along with that, they brought it to council, and they seemed like it was a good idea too. And then from there, it just ballooned up. As soon as we made it kind of public, people were jumping on board. Guys were signing up to try out. It was nothing like when I ran the Thetford Dirty Dogs, that's for sure. Yeah.
What would you say is the difference this time around? Like, I mean, what is the general feeling? Is it just like maybe I don't know, maybe a younger base that's just excited and chomping at the bit to play competitive hockey still? Or
I mean, there's a couple. I could rhyme off a few different things. The league itself seems like there's a lot more promotion. There's a lot more involved with even just these teams coming out. That video made me want to strap on the blades and go out and start throwing the body back.
Just get the blood pumping. Yeah,
I'd be in the hospital right after.
So would I. Don't worry.
But it's things like that. Things are a lot different how they're run. The guys are very excited for maybe a possibility of a provincial title, West versus East.
Very exciting, yeah.
It's just something different, right? And I know we're working diligently right now as GMs and owners to try to kind of bring forth some rules and whatnot to make sure that this league stays very different than any other league in Ontario. So people just know that, and people feel the vibe from this league, and it's just something completely different. And the biggest difference is, I mean, when I ran the Thetford Dirty Dogs, I maybe had 5 people helping out, and now I've got I don't even like the people in Alvinston that jumped on board. Not just Alvinston too; it's surrounding areas as well. But I mean, I've got a lot of people on the executive. I got a full staff almost. Like things are just rocking. Like it's coming together very nicely.
That's exciting. I'm glad to hear that. Now I noticed you haven't, I don't believe that you guys have announced any recruits. Is that coming? Like, is that something that we can expect from you guys in the coming weeks? Some maybe player commitments?
For sure. Like, we were actually waiting for these 2 jerseys right here. One of our great sponsors is a photographer.
Okay.
And she's gonna bring everything together and give us kind of like a little photo shoot for each guy. Perfect. And then we're gonna be able to use that on our website and on Facebook and stuff Excellent. Like that. So I could have, I guess, we do have 6 players committed as of right now. They are on our website, but I wanted to kind of bring them out.
I understand.
In more of a professional way than just kind of throwing him out there. So, yeah.
Right on. So we can expect those announcements. That's great. Like, I think that's when it really kind of starts to become real. You know, I mean, you look at, like, I know Stratford has announced a lot of players, and I think that was expected because they're a brand new team, just like you guys are. Right. And obviously with the Strathroy Jets, I know they've announced a handful of players. Is that when it really starts to become real that this is actually happening?
I think it for the community, it definitely does. Right. That's why we kind of put 6 players on our website already, just to kind of show the community that, well, we're going out, we're trying to seek sponsorship, and they can see, they've got 6 guys already. This is legit. Right. So yeah, it was tough because the league hadn't really announced anything yet. Right. So, I mean, we really had to make sure that we weren't kind of blowing it up like we are now, but we definitely needed to show that we were a bit of a legitimacy for the league anyway, and for our team.
Right. And you kind of strike me as a guy that understands this above all else, really, is that this community involvement in Alvinston is going to be huge towards the Killer Bees' success. Would you agree with that?
Well, for sure. And I'm sure that's the same for every team.
I agree.
I mean, we have just a shade over 900 people in Alvinston. We're the smallest franchise, if you want to call it that. In the
you can call it that.
Yeah, we can call that. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I mean, there won't be another Alvinston Killer Bees somewhere else. Maybe in I think there's some Alvinstons in the States, but no, we are the smallest. And I mean, I it's what I said to my my board when we just had a meeting there not too long ago. We want to treat it like a little NHL.
Okay.
Like we want to have the tickets with, with the logos of the sponsors of that game. We want to have a player on that ticket. Just something we want to promote our players too, make them feel like this is like professional hockey. In my opinion, this is professional hockey, right? It's a one step up from any junior
Yeah.
program that's out there. And I strongly believe that, some of the programs that are in place in Ontario are very, very professional. And I want to follow suit with that for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I'm of that opinion too. If you're going to have any credibility at all, you better be able to run it well. And obviously, part of that is the social media aspect, with that, which I know Jamie is very big on, and I commend him for that 100%, because that's going to be very important. Today's age, everybody is social media. Everybody has a phone in their hand pretty much all the time. Maybe too much if you ask some people, but that's where they find out about what's going on. It's no longer word of mouth. It's whatever's going on that screen of yours. And if you're tuned in somehow, that's how you're going to find out, okay, there's a game at this time. We need to be there at X time. We need to know what's going on right in the depths of our community. And obviously, if we have an exciting product on the ice, people are going to come, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, social media has been huge for us from the start. Right. That was the first thing we kind of did when we met with the municipality, and then they met with the council, and everything was kind of like, okay. We went and we just started a page up, and it just bought more than I could have ever imagined. And then to top it off, I said, hey, if you want to see the away jerseys, because nobody had seen them yet, right. I said, we need this many followers. And I had that many followers within, I think it was probably 7 hours.
Okay.
Like it was crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Yeah. So it just goes to show, right? And I mean, it just goes to show too, the following we already have, like the amount of people, and even the area. Like, I mean, we share an area with Strathroy, which is 18 minutes away from us to the east. Right. And then we share also 22 minutes to the west is Petrolia out of the WAA. So, right. I mean, we're dead smack in the middle of, of senior. We don't really want to call it senior hockey, but it's, it's the next level up. It's and that's another thing too, right? Like, I mean, back when I coached the Dogs, people were really, what's senior hockey? Like, what are they, 50, right. 60 years old, But right. I mean, the way Jamie's kind of approaching this now, let's try to keep senior out of it. It's a super hockey league, and it's going to be a super hockey league. Like, people that haven't seen that level of hockey yet are just amazed. And that's all the trick is. Get them out, see one game, and then they're hooked for sure.
Oh, absolutely. That's been the biggest thing in terms of, like, yeah, you got to lose the senior title first of all. I agree with that 100% when you say that, because generally, yeah, somebody's going to hear senior hockey league, they're going to be like, oh, that's boring. I don't want to watch that. Unless you get the person that's like the hardcore senior hockey fan that would say, okay, yeah, let's go. It's all going to be fisticuffs every night kind of thing. And that's very old. That's a very old school way of thinking. We could both agree on that. So now we just got to get to that next level where we're bringing in people that are going to be dedicated, which we know we're going to get their support no matter what. But we got to get the young following. That's going to be the toughest one to get. But obviously, if we do the social media right, we have a chance. In terms of the social media following, I agree with you. I've been so surprised by even just this podcast following in the 3 episodes I've done before this one. Very good, very receptive. The subscriber numbers are blowing my mind. The viewership numbers are just off the charts. It's fantastic for me because it actually means that people care about what they're watching. Plus, I do think that the podcast in general is going to be very important moving forward. Not to toot my own horn, but I think this is going to be very crucial in adding a different layer of element that not other leagues around the area at this age level don't have currently.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like, I mean, I followed you back in the day when you were doing the WAA, and I mean, this is a key component of just getting people's word messages out there. Once all the teams are done, I'm sure you're going to be doing some. You've already done one player, I guess, from Stratford. But I mean, it's guys love that. Right. You know what? And I'm not saying a player might come to this league rather than another league because of different things we're doing, but it's a pretty good chance that they might. So, So, and I mean, you talk about the youth. We're going to be doing 3 games away from Alvinston, home games, and those are going to be minor hockey nights.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to have we're going to have a little junior fan club, so to speak. So the junior Stingers. So there'll be a game in Forest, which will be Lambton Shores minor hockey night. There'll be a game in Watford, which will be an East Lambton minor hockey night. And then there'll be a game in Glencoe, which will be Southwest Bullets minor hocky night. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, just doing different things, right? And trying to gather in all these people. And I mean, it's like I said, if we can get these people out to watch one game, they're going to be simply amazed at just the skill level, the talent, and even just the general feel for how things are run too. Yeah.
Right. And then, like, I think we can also both agree to this point is that when it comes to the talent of this league and it comes to the young men that play this game, that are obviously just coming out of junior, they still want to play competitive hockey. They don't want to play beer league pickup shinny because it's not competitive. They don't play defense. They barely skate. Some of them, they skate too much. They stay on the ice for 5 minutes at a time, and some guys don't even see the ice, and they're like, well, what did I pay that $10 for? It's just that competitive edge that a lot of guys still carry, and that fuels them to be good. I think that's going to be really interesting with this league because these young kids, they still deserve that following. They still deserve that recognition. And, through a lot of people in this league already, I feel that is the goal that we're trying to achieve here.
Oh, for sure it is. For sure it is. And just to make mention of it, like I know Jamie and the rest of us in the league too, we're trying to develop player eligibility. And I mean, that really brings forth a lot of parity in the league, and that we need that. You need that in a league. You need rules to kind of tighten things up so that you don't get teams that come in and kind of run the table, so to speak. We've seen that in other leagues. I've been a part of that in other leagues. And it just doesn't do, I mean, the team winning 16-1 doesn't like it as much as the team losing 16-1.
So, and sitting in the crowd for that, having been there myself, like you generally are bored by about midway through the second period, and you're generally going to be more inclined to leave because you don't really want to sit in a cold arena to watch a 16-1 game. You'd rather watch a 2-1 overtime win or something.
Yep, for sure. And I think that's the vision that Jamie's got, and it's a wonderful vision. We'll tighten everything up and make sure, and I mean, getting players is going to be maybe easier for some teams than other teams, but honestly, I'm confident. I mean, we've got over 70 guys signed up to try out.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. And there's more coming in every day.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, it's like, do we have that NHLer coming to our club? Probably not.
Right. So Joe Thornton's not retiring and then playing for Alvinston Killer Bees, right?
Well, I guess it truly depends on what happens this year. If the Leafs win the cup, I might give him a shout.
Yeah, you might. Yeah. Have him ride into the sunset and then ride into another. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why not?
Yeah.
Is there, so obviously I can tell, like, you're an excited guy and you seem passionate about what's going on. Like, is there a general level of excitement when it comes to the Killer Bees?
There is. Like, a couple of our board members call it catching the buzz.
I love
so
it.
To speak.
That's a great catchphrase. And, you guys should go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we are, whenever somebody gets excited or something on Facebook, that's kind of actually general comment that we use,
awesome,
right?
That's awesome.
But I mean, you could feel it. Like, even as we're going out and getting sponsorship and talking to different people, like some people have heard about the Killer Bees coming to town. Some people haven't. Right. And it's good just to tell the story behind it and talking about it. And I honestly feel that push come to shove, I mean, we've got one of the best little towns pushing for an awesome experience.
Right on. Andrew Rogers here with the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast, talking with Shawn Dickey, head coach, president, general manager of the Alvinston Killer Bees. Shawn, in terms of like some of the local support that you've gotten already, is there some businesses that you'd like to recognize at this point that for at least chipping in? I know it's hard really for sponsorship right now too, given Some
Yeah.
businesses have really struggled more than others in terms of where they're at because of this pandemic. Like it's got to be huge to have some support given the circumstances.
Yeah. Like a big one off the start, and it's a well-known business in Alvinston. And I mean, the owner of it is Chad Hayter, and it's Hayter's Heating and Cooling.
Okay. Right
I'm not sure if that's exact name of it, but it's Hayter's for sure.
Yeah.
And but he jumped on board right away, and it's important to have those main guys in your group.
Right.
That, I don't know, like I'm not from Alvinston. Honestly, when I played for Thetford minor hockey growing up as a kid, we played against Alvinston. So
okay, I see.
I do know the town, but Alvinston is with Watford now, and they're East Lambton minor hockey now. But I've always known the town. I've always known people around the town. But it's amazing to meet new people and just feeling, like you said, I've got the passion and the drive. I mean, these people do too. And it's so easy. It's so easy. They get me pumped up and they want me to do whatever I can do. And and that's probably why I spend 4 or 5 hours a day on the phone, just doing whatever I got to do to make sure this works.
Absolutely. And that's important. Do you have any sort of like important events coming up throughout the summer before you guys hit the ice, maybe like some fundraiser events that people should be aware of at this point?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough too, right? We are working on a ball hockey tournament.
Okay.
We're hopefully going to be able to host that in Alvinston. That'll be indoors. We're going to be having a golf tournament like pretty much everybody else is probably going to be
That's
having.
A big one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we've talked to some golf courses, and since they got shut down, those talks have kind of stopped a little bit. So,
of course.
But yeah, that kind of stuff. Probably by the end of the week, next week, we're going to know kind of our schedule for tryouts.
Okay.
We're planning on starting a little bit earlier, probably. Well, I shouldn't say, I don't know what everybody else is doing, but we're going to be starting probably second week of August, and hopefully have the team picked by the end of August so that we can have some exhibition games in September, kind of get us going, and then have some full practices with the team too in September too. So all that stuff, as they are coming to fruition, will be on our website, and that's just simply www.alvinstonkillerbees.com. So everything will be on there, including skates and any special events or any fundraising, or even our sponsorship program. We made up these really cool postcards, and that has all our information for sponsorship, and we're trying to go about it that way.
Very exciting stuff. So where does it, so how, okay, I mean, I get your involvement, I get your passion, I get your excitement in general for this team. You've obviously got some players already committed, which is great. You'll announce those commitments when you feel fit.
Yep.
Who is Shawn Dickey, for those who don't know, and where does the hockey passion come from? I mean, obviously, like I say, you're a passionate guy about the sport in general, but where did it all begin for you?
Well, it started 27 years ago when I started coaching.
Okay.
I had no family yet. I was married, but I started coaching juvenile. I did that for 7 years successfully, and then got into our towns were amalgamating, so I had to make a decision, and that's when the Thetford Dirty Dogs came around. I coached that for seven or 8 years, and then we went on a hiatus, and I went up to Goderich.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that was their last year. It almost seemed like I was finishing off teams there, but so I mean, and then I got into coaching my son. I love the game. I'm that type of guy that even though I was coaching Tyke, I was going to the Roger Nielsen's clinic and learning breakouts from NHL coaches, right? Nothing I could use in Tyke, but it's just, I am that tank that just takes everything in, and I'm just a big kid and love the sport so much. And I just want to be around it in any capacity I possibly can all the time. And that's 365 too. So, but yeah, that's Shawn Dickey in a nutshell. I do coach other sports too. I've won provincial title in fastball in a little town called Arcona.
Yeah.
And but I just like to coach. I like to teach different sports for sure.
And I think that's going to be important for this group of kids who like for the teams and the people involved. I think that's going to be important. In terms of like, it's always different whenever you ask this question to a player in terms of what maybe their fondest hockey memories are, but it's a little different when you're a coach because I think that it adds a different layer to it. In your time, like, do you have a particularly fond hockey memory that sticks out? Maybe a championship win or like a crazy game that you were a part of, something like that you can recall for us?
I mean, every dad likes to coach their kid, and then in saying that, you want to see them excel too.
Of course.
And I guess we were in a tournament, and I want to think it was Elmira. We were playing an arena there, and it was the finals, and we were down by 1 with a minute to go, and little guy, I think it might have been Adam, skate all the way down the ice and scores a beauty goal to tie it up. And then we ended up scoring again before the end of regulation.
No
but it was
way.
just, oh yeah, it was just one of those games too, where, just, you know what, that probably fueled his passion where it is now. Like he wants to excel in hockey and go play junior somewhere. He's only 16, but he's hoping he jumps on with a club. And even if these guys are going, but yeah, it's, little things like that fuel the fire. It truly does. Even coaching, it definitely wanted me to push and get these kids going on forward. And likewise for him too. Like it felt phenomenal to score that goal. And then, and look, that's where we are now. So
excellent. Right on. That's really cool, man. I appreciate that story a lot. That's awesome. So yeah, I guess at this point, there's a lot of excitement in the air. There's a lot of excitement with this league. There's a lot of optimism, obviously. It's a really exciting time because it is so new. It's still so fresh. Everybody's still kind of getting all hyped up with it. But is there still a level of doubt? Because we don't know for sure if we're going to be able to go on the target date. Is there any concern in your mind with that? Like, I mean, obviously there has to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say, I mean, everybody's going to have their own beliefs on whether they should get vaccinated or not. I know I got mine. Technically, I still have COVID.
Right.
You have it up to 4 months after.
Wow.
And, but I got it anyway. I think it's important. The more people we get vaccinated, let's just see what happens. I mean, people are going to have, again, their views on what that might do to them or whatever. Right. But I think, and I hope that if we get enough people vaccinated, then we're able to hit a certain number where we can get back to a normalized life.
Absolutely.
People talk about mental health all the time. I believe that.
Killer, dude. Killer.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, even for adults, right? Like I'd be doing something right now.
Nobody's safe from that, man. Oh. No one's safe from mental health.
No, for sure. So that's my hope. And I mean, the government seems like they're pushing a lot of vaccines out there, which is good.
That is good.
I just hope that enough people take them and I hope everything works out the way it's supposed to, that we're able to push forward here. For sure.
Perfect. The last one I'll give you is just to let us know what is next for the Alvinston Killer Bees, obviously coming up here in the near future. And just give us an idea where to find you, just so we know how to be able to follow along with you with the Killer Bees.
Like I said, we've got some social media platforms out there. We do have our website, which is again alvinston-killerbees.com, and we do have a Facebook page, which is, I believe, just Alvinston Killer Bees. A lot of our stuff anything that we do will be put on there.
Excellent.
Quite frankly, right now we probably, along with every other team in the WSHL, is looking for sponsorship, and that's what we're doing right now. People might have different titles on the board, but as of right now, it's all hands on deck, and we're trying to just trying to secure enough money to make us feel comfortable that everything is going to be a go. And it's tough. I mean, it's tough. You got that COVID out there, and it's tough, but there's enough people, if they feel the passion, or they feel that you are doing the right thing, there are a lot of nice people out there that are willing to give. So I'm hoping in the near future, maybe somebody sees this awesome podcast and they feel like they want to get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me through the website, and
perfect.
Text me, call me. I don't
whatever
even care.
It takes.
3 a.m. Give me
whatever
it
takes.
Yeah.
Right on. We've been speaking with the president and head coach and general manager of the Alvinston Killer Bees of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League, Shawn Dickey. Shawn, it's been an absolute pleasure, dude. You've been great. We'll have you on again. Thanks a lot for doing this.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Andrew. You're doing a great job. Like we talked about social media, you're right in the heart of it, bud. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. This Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast is brought to you by Joe's Diner. Come and enjoy Joe's all-day breakfast, located at 155 Erie Street in Stratford. Call 519-272-9933. And by Locker Room Lager. Dump and chill and enjoy these suds with your squad. Visit postgamebrewingco.com for details. Much thanks to our guest on this week's edition of the podcast, from the Alvinston Killer Bees, Shawn Dickey, the president, head coach, and general manager. It was an absolute pleasure to talk with him. He's got a lot of stuff to say, obviously, and very enthusiastic and a very passionate guy. And we appreciate having him involved in this league, and we look forward to talking to him more. We also want to thank our sponsors for the podcast. Joe's Diner out of Stratford, Ontario, as well as Locker Room Lager, which is run by Post Game Brewing Company. So thank you very much to them for their continued support of this Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. Again, here's our social media links, guys. Make sure to follow along, subscribe on YouTube, and make sure to follow us along on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find everything that you need to find, all the latest updates and all the latest information. Thank you very much, guys, for your continued support. Honestly, it's so great to see. And again, the other thing is too, guys, we'll have an announcement on the next guest that we got lined up for the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. That'll be episode number 5. That guest is still to be determined. So thank you very much for watching once again. I'm your host, Andrew Rogers, for the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. Episode number 4 is in the books, and we will see you next time. Stay safe out there, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Take care.